Hey guys, so in today's episode, I have an incredible interview to share with you guys. I had the pleasure of talking to Dillon, aka @FestyHeads, about how he turned a passion project into a full-time job creating festival gear that brings a smile to people's face. Not only does Dillon design the absolutely most incredible custom Marshmello helmets, he's also a super humble and genuine guy, and I'm so happy to share his amazing story with you guys today. So let's get into it. Alrighty, welcome back to Rave Culture Podcast, your weekly guide to the EDM community, music festivals, and more. I'm your host, Emma Kapotes. Thank you all so much for tuning in this week. Happy Thanksgiving, you guys. I hope you all had an awesome holiday. You're all recovering from your food comas. I'm actually recording this prior to Thanksgiving, so future Emma, I'm sure you had a great time with family and friends, and yeah, this is the best time of year, honestly. You guys know I'm a Halloween kind of girl. That's my favorite holiday, but Thanksgiving just hits different. Do you know what I mean? It's honestly the best. So I really hope you guys enjoyed, and you know, you're getting back into it this week, and it's going well so far for you. So I'm really excited to kick off this episode this week, you guys. We have a really great interview coming up, so I just want to go over a few things at the top of the episode here and then just get into it, because the conversation today is one that I really value, and I don't know, it's just rare sometimes that you have a conversation that you're left like speechless afterwards, and that was me after this conversation with Dillon, so I'm really excited to share that with you. But before we get into everything, you guys, I just want to say a huge thank you for checking out the podcast. Whether you guys are new this week or you have been here since the beginning, thank you so much for listening to the episodes, for tuning in this week. The number one thing you guys can do to support this podcast is to spread the word about it. I would really appreciate you guys sending a link out today, sharing this on your Instagram stories, telling your group chat, whatever it is. I appreciate you guys spreading the word. You know, that's what helps us grow every week, and it's cool. I get to have more people come on here, which is awesome because I'm reaching a different audience. And yeah, it's just been incredible to meet you guys in person at festivals and stuff, and to hear that you're enjoying the content. So I really, you know, I am a huge podcast listener. Like, that is what I listen to on my commute to and from work every day. So it's just something I'm very used to. So I hope that I break up your day and make it better and bring you guys some really fun content. So anyway, thank you all so much. Also, if you listen on Apple Podcasts, I would love it if you would rate and review, throw a couple stars, leave a few words if you want. I always see you guys doing that, so thank you for the support. And of course, you guys can follow on YouTube. My YouTube channel is just under my name, Emma Kapotes. I have the Rave Culture Podcast playlist over there, so you guys can watch along, comment, join the conversation. I really love getting your feedback on all of the episodes. So yeah, check us out on YouTube. Go subscribe over there. And on social media, you guys can tweet at me. Again, tag me in your Instagram stories. It's @raveculturecast, @raveculturecast. And then my personal account is @Emma Kapotes. That's Kapotes. So again, follow along with the conversation. I'm always posting like questionnaires, polls. I'm looking for submissions for future episodes, so definitely feel free to follow us over there. And I think that's all I got from the top of the episode here. Again, really hope you guys had a really happy Thanksgiving. I can't believe we're in the last month. Has that like hit anybody else yet? Because I've started to see people posting on social media about like, this is the end of a decade, which when you put it that way, it's kind of like terrifying, but also exhilarating at the same time. I don't know, this is like a very reflective period for a lot of people. So I personally just want to go out really strong this year and bring some awesome episodes to you guys. I have some really cool videos that I'm like very proud of that I'm working on, and I have very big plans for all of this in 2020, and I just can't wait to push it further. So I just wanted to say that in the beginning here. I'm really excited for things to come. So again, I'm really happy you guys have been a part of this journey. I started the podcast back in like, I think it was mid-April, which is crazy. It's been over 6 months. It's almost been a year, so that's absolutely nuts. But yeah, I have some really exciting changes coming for the podcast in 2020. So I'm very excited about that. Trying to figure out my festival plans. We'll see. I'm, you know, spending my money on Christmas gifts right now. So that's where the focus is. But yeah, anyway, I also had, well, it hasn't happened yet, but I also am going to have my 10-year high school reunion, which, can we just take a second to just like let that sink in? You girls getting old, but at the same time, it's here. Did anyone ever see that movie? I think it was called like 10-Year Reunion or something. Channing Tatum's in it. I'm probably aging myself right now. But yeah, I can't believe that my 10-year is here already. My friend and I are throwing the reunion because my friend Connor was the president of our grade senior year and I was the vice president. And he and I actually like weirdly work together too at our job. So we've been planning this whole thing literally since the summer. So at this point it's over already. I'm sure it went really well, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be crazy to, you know, like see some old faces, some familiar faces, have a couple drinks. It's an open bar. So anyway, pray for me. Hopefully that all went well. Okay, so listener of the week, you guys, I don't have any submissions. I'm so sad. I recorded the podcast here like 3 weeks in a row, back to back, almost like just a couple days in between. So I ran out of submissions. But for those of you who are unfamiliar, I do a shout out every single week to one of our listeners here who just really deserves a shout out. They're doing positive things for this community. They're a good person, they're a kind person, and they've made a really positive impact on your life. So you guys can always send me your nominations for listener of the week. Just email me. It's raveculturecast@gmail.com. raveculturecast@gmail.com. Just do the subject headline, listener of the week. Please send in nominations. I'm all out of them and I definitely want to shout you guys out. I'll call out your handles or whatever you want, but I really just want to shed more light on you guys because you are the reason all of this is happening, and without your support I wouldn't be able to do any of this. So definitely send me in your nominations and we'll have a couple more here before the end of the year. So again, email me that at raveculturecast@gmail.com, raveculturecast@gmail.com. And of course, guys, submissions, topics you want me to cover, suggestions, like all of that is welcome. You can always email me with ideas, people you want me to interview. Please, you know, send that over to me. Okay, so let's jump into today's episode and the interview that I have for you guys this week. You guys know, like when I pick somebody to come on here or I have the opportunity to talk to someone and have a conversation with them, I'm looking, you know, for people in this community that I think have a really interesting story or that I personally like admire, and I want to introduce them to you. Again, I'm all about like positivity. You know, if I have a good gut feeling about people, and if I feel that strongly for someone, I'm like, okay, we gotta have them on. I've also had friends of mine suggest people for me to get in contact with, and it's been really great so far. So this was one of those cases. I am talking to Dillon, aka at FestiHeads. That's at FESTI heads. He makes Marshmello helmets. That's like the blanket statement. That's what he does, but it's so much more than that, you guys. And I figured that out in today's conversation. Dillon and I have never met before. I've just been familiar with his page. My friend Tom over at the Lunchbox also was like, oh my God, you gotta interview him on the podcast. He would be really great. He's an awesome guy. And then Dillon reached out and we got to talking. And so this was my first like real conversation with him. And it just reminded me why I love doing this. Like if you told me a year ago that I would be interviewing people and like having phone calls, like, I mean, I'm a millennial kind of girl. I can handle a phone call, but I didn't think that I would be like comfortable interviewing people. I always get so nervous, and it's just been the most rewarding thing ever. Like I'm just constantly surprised by people, and I just like am blown away at so many incredible people out there, and everyone has a different story, and I'm always surprised. I always see the conversation going one way and I have like questions prepared, and then the conversation like totally goes in a different direction and it's like even better than I planned. And again, that was one of these cases. So Dillon and I obviously will talk a little bit about what he does, how he creates these incredibly beautiful custom Marshmello helmets. They're so sick. I saw one in person at EDC Orlando, Dillon and the Lunchbox were giving away a custom helmet that was really, really cool, and they had like a giveaway winner, so I got to try that on, and I was like, holy shit, this is like so legit. There are literally like fans in it to keep you cool. So he obviously took a long time to get there, a lot of trial and error, but we're gonna talk a little bit about how you turn passion project into like a full-time job. This is his career, this is what he does for a living, and his story of how he got there, I think, is just so relatable. And I mean, like, I believe he's 26, I'm 28, like people around our age and like in your younger 20s, early 30s, when you're sort of like trying to figure out what the hell you want to do with your life, and you may not like have the answers yet, or you try something and you fail at it, and then you kind of just like stumble into something that is so clearly what you were supposed to be doing. I just think it's like an amazing kind of moment. So I can't wait for you to hear Dillon's story and how he got to where he is now. Please go support him. Please go check out his page. If you guys are interested in purchasing a helmet, you can totally do that. He's going to talk a little bit about how to place a custom order. I'll have his information here, but again, it's at FestyHeads. And I think that's all I have to say. I just want you guys to hear his story and how he got where he is today. So let's get into it, guys. Welcome Dillon, aka FestyHeads, to the podcast. How are you?
I'm good. I think I'm still kind of recovering from EDC.
Oh yeah.
I kind of feel like a normal person again.
Oh man, yeah, I feel you. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate you doing this today. I always love to have people on the podcast that I think are like making a really positive impact in the community, and I definitely think that you're one of them. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me tonight.
Of course, thank you for inviting me on.
Of course. So just to get started, because I know we've actually never met in person. I'm surprised I didn't bump into you at EDC yet. But
it seems like when you're like looking for someone at EDC, like, or at any festival, you'll never find them. But like there were people that I wasn't avoiding, but I wasn't like actively looking for them, and I ran into them like 4 or 5 times. Like there's people I ran into every single day. We like stand next to each other at a show on the first night. Yeah. And then like we kept running into them. Like it's just weird how that it seems like if you're like actively trying and like texting someone and you're like, let's meet up here, and like it just never works out.
No, but exactly. It's a small world.
Things that makes festivals fun.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I'm sure soon at some point, because you seem to have like a pretty busy festival schedule. But before I ask you about all that stuff, I know like I've been a fan of your page for a while now, so I'm definitely excited to learn more about you and to share your story with everybody listening. I did a quick intro to you before you came on to the podcast, but just for those who aren't familiar with you or what you do, can you just give like a little background on yourself? I know this is always fun to do, like wherever you're from, what you do, how old you are.
All right. Well, my name's Dillon. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. Actually, from here. I was born and raised. I was born about 20 minutes south of the city, and then I went to high school in a suburb called Franklin. And then I went to Western Kentucky University for school. Failed out. Came back to Nashville. Went to community college for I think a semester. Okay. Then I went back to Western, and then failed out / quit my second time around because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like I just didn't really understand why it didn't seem like a good idea to pay all that money to get a degree in something that I wasn't super passionate about. Ironically, my degree, what I was getting at the time when I quit was business management, which would be super helpful. After I quit for the second or failed out, whatever. I was going to quit, but I basically failed out.
That's all right.
In school, I was good at classes that I cared about, and if I didn't care, I would just do enough to barely hire, or maybe in some cases not get by. My first semester of college, I got really, really sick. I missed about a month of classes because legitimately almost died. Had like pneumonia.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Fun freshman year.
Yep.
Had a little bit too much fun. That's kind of why I got sick. Staying up way too late, not getting any sleep. It really takes a toll after a while. I can do it every now and then, but I can't do it, for weeks on end like I used to. But when I came back to Nashville, after I left Western, I kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do. I worked in a welding shop for a while. My dad owns a steel company and a handrail company in Nashville, and I worked at the handrail company out in the shop and was basically just like welding like handrail and like not doing anything like super crazy, but it's just long. Had to be at work at 5 a.m. and get off at 5:30.
Oh wow, okay.
In the afternoon. So like in the winters, I would literally like not see the sun all day because I'd be going into work, it'd be dark, and then I'd be in the shop all day and then get out, and it was just like I just remember leaving work and on Friday and being like, God, I don't want to come back. Like that was my first thought. It's like I've only got 2 days till I have to come back here.
Yeah, exhausting. Yeah,
I was really fortunate that I was able to have that job through my dad. It taught me a lot, and I used a lot of the skills I learned there in building helmets. But I went to Bonnaroo in 2015.
Okay.
After I had this was when I was still working at the welding shop. I left college at the end of 2014, and in 2015 was when I was back in Nashville, and one of my best friends passed away. It hit me really hard, and I was just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and then ended up getting a ticket to Bonnaroo. I think my parents gave it to me for my birthday or something like that. And I went with my friend Jay, and he knew someone. And then we ended up having this huge group where like no one really knew each other.
Okay.
One person, it was like this long train of people that one person from each group knew each other. And that's just kind of how we ended up together, but ended up becoming really good friends with those people. I still go to festivals with them.
Nice.
Saw some movies to Orlando this past month or whatever. And basically had a life-changing experience at Bonnaroo that year, and just I basically picked two things to live my life by. I basically just wanted to be happy, and I wanted to leave the world a better place than it was when I got here or whatever, which is kind of here or whatever. But that's that was kind of the conclusion I come to. And about a month later, I quit my job at the welding shop, which was hard to do just because it was my dad's business, and it's one of those things where I could have taken over and probably made a lot of money, but that wasn't what I was passionate about. And I really wasn't at that point. I didn't really know what I was passionate about. I was really into like Tesla and things Elon, SpaceX, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I quit and didn't have a job lined up, was just kind of like living at my friend's house, and parents were super thrilled about that.
Yeah.
I was sitting at my friend's house one night and I was just like, I wonder what it's like to work at Tesla. And I looked and I Googled around and saw they actually had a place in Nashville.
Oh, wow.
They had just opened a couple months before. They had I think there was 5 positions open, and I applied for all of them. I made a resume right there, sent it in. I was like, on the resume, I was like, I don't have a degree in, anything. I got a degree in staying out too late and going to the bars, but that's not a really actionable degree.
Yep.
But I basically was like, I'm a quick learner, and I really, really admire what Tesla does. And I'd sweep the floor if it meant that I could be a part of this company. And sent the application in. Thought there's no way, I'll ever even get anything back. And then about a week later, I got an email back from the recruiter saying she wanted me to fill out, I think it was like a over the phone interview, and I did a quick over the phone interview, and then I had 2 in-person interviews. I interviewed for something in sales and something in service.
Okay.
My service one was first, and that guy was like, you need to be in sales. And so I did that interview, and I left that interview just like I bombed it. There's no way I'm going to get this job.
Right.
I felt excited after, and flash forward like a week, and I'm at my friend's house. I'm in the shower, and I hear my phone ringing, and I look out, and it's a number from California, which is where Tesla's based.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I answered, and the recruiter's like, hey, Dillon, I think her name was Nicole. She's like, it's Nicole. We were just calling to say that we wanted to extend you the offer for the product specialist position at Tesla. And I was like,
wow.
Where do I sign?
Yep.
Options and all that kind of stuff. And I worked there for about 2 years. Loved it. Loved every minute of it. And then about a year and a half in, we got a new manager. We got a manager. We didn't have a manager for a long time. And we were actually doing pretty well given where we were. Nashville's not a huge market for Tesla. It should be, but it's one of those things kind of like seeing is believing. And once you get in the car and ride around it makes sense. Yeah. But new manager came in, changed a bunch of stuff, how we were doing. Our sales numbers started falling. I obviously disagreed with the way she was doing things. other than, we personally didn't get along, but I was still, I showed up to work and, didn't miss anything, like anything like that. And my birthday that year, I was supposed to be going to Euphoria out in Texas. I'd asked off for that festival, but ended up not going. And my roommate, Mark, who was also working at Tesla, he was the position above me. He bought a Tesla of his own.
Oh, wow.
And he was driving out to Las Vegas and then doing LA to San Francisco and then Denver and then back the same dates that I was going to be gone for Euphoria. And since I wasn't going anymore and it was like right before my birthday, he was like, do you want to come with me? I was like, absolutely. So like he got the car, he took delivery of his car.
Oh my God.
I was off that day. He drove home. We loaded the car up and then drove to Las Vegas and like put 1,000 miles on his car in under 24 hours. Like literally drove straight there. It was really, really fun.
That's awesome.
Spent a couple days in Vegas. That was my first time going. Had a great time. Went to LA, and before I'd left, I'd asked the manager if I could extend my trip by a day so that I could visit the factory. And she said, ask the person making the schedule if that's okay. And so I did. And that person said, yeah. So I, bought my plane. This was like, 2-3 days before we left.
Okay.
So I got my plane ticket, extended the trip a day or two, so that I could visit the factory on my birthday, just for fun. Not because they wanted me to, just I loved working there and I wanted to learn more about the car. So
wow.
The company, and I figured that'd be a good way to do it. Get to LA, and then I remember it like it was yesterday. I was getting ready to get in the shower, and I decided like, I'm gonna check the schedule and like see what time I'm working on Saturday when I get back.
Yeah.
And I opened up the schedule, and I just immediately I sat down. I was like, I'm getting fired. And she had scheduled me. After we had gotten to California, she put me on the schedule for Wednesday and Thursday, which was my birthday and the day after, and those were the days we were visiting the factory. So,
right.
I called manager and I was like, hey, like, you told me I could be off. Like, what's the deal? And she's like, well, plans change and you have to get back to work. And I was
God.
The Pacific Ocean is within sight.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Tomorrow. Like,
yeah.
And it's not like I was in New Orleans partying. I was literally like,
no, you were going to the freaking factory.
Yeah, so we went back and forth for a minute, and she was just like, well, we'll have to talk when you get back. So I was like, all right, whatever. I was like, I've never gotten in trouble, never had any kind of written warning. Like, I'll be fine. Like, it'll be awkward, and
that's crazy.
I'll have to talk or whatever. Get back to Nashville, show up to work on a day early. I wasn't scheduled, but I showed up as a Friday afternoon. I was like, I want to get caught up on all the stuff that I'd missed. Worked all day. End of the day, manager says, hey, I need to talk to you for a minute. And we go into a back office, and she pulls out her phone and she calls like HR and puts puts her phone on the table.
God.
And she goes, Dillon, because you had an unexcused absence, today is your last day with Tesla. And I was speechless. I was like, I couldn't believe it. And it was like a 2-minute conversation. And then she hung up and she was like, I need to escort you out of the building. And I was like, I was just sitting there. I couldn't process it.
Yeah.
I loved her. And I was like, look me in the eye and tell me that what you just did is fair. Like, I know that I missed a day, but like the reason I missed was because I was visiting the factory, and like I told you I was going to be gone before. She said it was a no call, no show. Didn't technically call that day and say I wasn't going to be there. I told her beforehand.
Right.
It's one of those like technicality, like if you read the rule book, I'd say, to get fired. But
no, she had it out for you. It sounds like that's fucked up.
And so I walked out of there and was just shell shocked. Couldn't believe it. Called my roommate Mark and he couldn't talk. And I called my mom and she was like, what's up? And I was like, I just got fired. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah. And then it hit me and I lost it. And I was really, really down for a while after that. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. But I had all this free time and I'd started building a helmet after Decadence that year.
Okay.
A couple months before, I had the materials and I was like, well, I've got all this free time and I've got some money saved up from working and like I don't really have to have a job right now, so I'm just going to buy some festival tickets. And I bought impulse bought tickets to Electric Forest and hang out and pick one other festival and built a Marshmello helmet in my free time. And all my friends were like, dude, what are you doing? And my parents were like, what are you doing? And I took the first one to hang out and it was just really cool. And so I built a few more for myself because Mello was at Bonnery that year. So I built a couple more helmets, took a picture of Electric Forest later, about a month after that. Forest that year, what I wanted to do was build helmets for other people and sell them because I'd had a lot of people I'd buy. And granted, people saying they buy one is different than people actually buying them. But I to where, and Mello was still pretty unknown at that point. So I figured I had a good chance to get in and try to start getting his attention at least. And late one July night, I was like, I saw something on his Instagram story. He said, like, if you send me pictures of your helmets on Twitter, I'll retweet them or something like that. He just posted, and that was only on his story for like 10 minutes, but I saw it. I had a notification, like I had the tweet ready. Had a notification when he tweeted something out. I tweeted the picture and I with some like cheesy caption and put my phone down. And then a couple minutes later, it went off once. And then it was just like rapid fire, just like nonstop, like phone vibrating, like constantly going on. I looked over at my friend Brad and I was like, dude. And I picked up my phone and I was like, he just retweeted a picture of those helmets. And that stayed up like, I didn't have I had an Instagram page, but I didn't really have one. Like, didn't know what I was doing. Still really didn't know what I was doing. I stayed up all night that night answering DMs. I mean, it was people from all over the world being like, dude, these are so cool. Where'd you get them? Wow. You know, how can I get them? All this kind of stuff. And since then it's been an uphill climb, because making one or two for myself is one thing, but making them for other people is an entirely different thing because I have to make, quality's there, and I can't have, I don't want my customers to have to mess with something like it's not finished. I want it to be finished, but it's been a fun journey. I mean, going from like EDC Orlando in 2017 was the first festival I delivered one to a customer. Okay. And that was also the first festival where when I first started building them, or when I decided I wanted to start building them, I told my friends, I was like, literally all I want to do is be at a festival and just like see one in the crowd. Yeah. And I was at Mello at EDC that year, and I was kind of in the back. Mm-hmm. I looked up and I saw the helmet that I had delivered. I just saw it like bobbing up and down in the front row, and like almost started crying. It was such a wild moment. And since then, like, I think I had like 2 or 3 people recognize me at that festival like the whole time. Because I was wearing one too. Yeah. Don't you have an Instagram account? And I was like, yeah. And I think I had like 1,000 or 2,000 followers. I don't think I had 2,000 followers at that point. I had like 1,500 followers on Instagram. Okay. And flash forward to now where like every day at EDC, people were coming up to me like, oh, you're the guy that makes those, or like, did you get yours from that guy? Like the first day I didn't get my helmet, and I had a couple people recognize me, and I was like, how do you know what I look like? Right? Like, I have the chills. That is so fucking cool. Yeah, I mean, it's just really cool. Like, I mean, I went from having like 2 or 3 people recognize me at EDC the whole time, and then it went to like I had 2 or 3 people recognize me in line for drinks, just like that kind of thing. It's really wild. And then I've got customers in over 20 countries at this point. I've hand built hundreds of helmets at this point. Not all of them were for other people. I mean, there's prototype stuff, but every helmet I make, I get a little better because I try to learn something with each one. Right. And just in the last like 2 months or so, I've finally figured out how to make them, how to hand build them without just having to spend, ridiculous amounts of time and effort. Sure. It's more of a just type thing instead of having to like fabricate everything myself. And would be a lot easier if I had like an engineering degree, which I don't. But you've got experience and you're learning like as you go. So that's how long does one helmet take to do at this point? It depends on the configuration, because some have different like fans and that kind of thing. But I can get it down to under 30 minutes. I think with my crap. They used to take about 2 hours. The first one took about 2 months. Actually, no, the first one from start to finish took me probably 5 months to build. Wow. That wasn't working on it every day, but I didn't know what I was doing, and what I wanted to do from the beginning was make them like customizable. Because like one has a white one, and the white ones are cool, but like I really like seeing like when I see a helmet in the crowd, I know which customer that is based on the helmet that they're wearing. The design, right. And I mean, I saw a bunch of customers at EDC Orlando. Saw a couple at Lost. Like every festival I've been to in the last 2 years, I've seen at least one. A couple like non-fest. Like I was at a show. I went to San Holo in Atlanta back in March, and like was just standing there, and then a guy just happened to walk by like right in front of me wearing one of my helmets. Funny. What's up? And he turned around as the helmet I delivered to Orlando in 2018. Yeah, it's just it's really wild because when I first started, it was never, I didn't think I'm going to build these helmets and then I'm going to have hundreds of customers one day. Like, it was just like, I literally just had too much free time, and I wanted to get my mind off of, it was essentially getting fired from Tesla was like a breakup, but it was 1,000 times worse because it's also how I put food on the table and a roof over my head. So it was extra devastating. And Tesla's a pretty popular company too. So it was really hard. And building helmets kind of gave me an outlet. And since then it's cool to see how they've developed and how much better I've gotten since the first ones I've made. And
that's so cool. You have an incredible story. I mean, it's just like, I absolutely love doing this for this exact reason, because I had no idea about any of this. Like, when you look at your feed, you know, I just thought you do this full time and it's a hobby of yours, but to hear how you've grown and where you've come from, I think it's incredible. And it's Tesla's loss, first of all, because now you have this outlet. So, and you never know where you'll end up in the future too.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is I have my own car, my own Tesla now, that I got from that store. I ordered it about a year after I got fired. I walked in and ordered it in person, kind of a middle finger to my manager. Which is 100% not the smartest financial decision I've ever made in my entire life. Probably the worst financial decision I've ever made. But I mean, it was a lot more than that. I mean, I genuinely love it's an amazing car. And I mean, I could go on for days and days about it. I used to sell them. So and that was a really fun job, just showing people, like, especially in Nashville, because a lot of people haven't heard of Tesla here. And at least when I was working there, and like putting someone in the car and then telling them to turn autopilot on, and then watching their face while the car literally like drives itself on the interstate. Like it's just so, I remember how I was when I first saw that. And I kind of get that now when I run into people at festivals and I'll show them my helmets and like show them. People ask, like, you know, don't you get hot in that? And I'll be like, why do you get hot? It's got a fan in it. And they're like, what? And I show them and they're like, that's amazing. And I'm like, it's literally just
so crazy.
Like, it's not going to space or anything like that, but it's literally just like too much free time plus knowing how to read tape measure plus and Google.
No, you're applying all your skills to it. But I actually saw one of yours in person because I went to home base to visit the Lunchbox team, and you had your helmet there, the Lunchbox version. So I tried that on. It is so intricate and well made in person. It was crazy. I saw the fans right away and I was like, this is freaking genius. Like, when you've like been doing all this, obviously you've had challenges and it's been like a learning experience for you, but what are like the tips and tricks you've learned along the way? Is it just by like trial and error, or? Yeah,
it's pretty much trial and error. I mean, I've spent a lot of time and money messing stuff up, and that's just kind of what you have to do. I think our society has this weird thing where like failure is seen as a really bad thing. And if you fail, you know, it's better to take the safe route and not risk failing rather than take the risky route, fail. But when you fail, like you fail at something, it's just learning. It's just a lesson. And if you if you don't learn the lesson and you keep failing for the same reason, then that's a mistake. But if you fail and then you learn, like, oh, okay, well, I need to change this. I got fired from Tesla. The lesson I learned from that was like, I don't want to work for someone else ever again, because I loved working there. And then I got a manager that we didn't agree with. It was a corporation. And at the end of the day, there's 15,000 people working there. I'm one. They don't care. I mean, you're replaceable. You're a replaceable cog in the machine. But with helmets, I've learned, I've changed, I've done 5, I'm on my 5th major like revision in terms of how I build them.
Okay.
And what I make it out of, just in the last 3-4 months, I've completely redesigned pretty much everything except for like 2 or 3 parts is different than what I used to do.
Wow. Okay.
And it made so like the Lunchbox one that was built in May of this year, and seeing like where the ones I make now, it's just like a world of difference in terms of like quality and how I build them.
Wow. And, but you got to adapt as you go too. So that makes sense, because you're, like you said, you're learning as you're going. Are you doing all this like at home?
Yeah. I've got a garage.
Okay.
And then I've got the master bedroom in my house is also like my office. I've got a big walk-in closet that I'm not a big clothes person. I pretty much wear the same stuff. So I turn that into office space. And I've got like awesome. or 30 helmets in my house right now.
Wow.
It's funny, when I first started making them, I told my roommates, I was like, I'm going to turn this garage into a factory. And they were like, okay. And I did.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it's not like a legit factory, but
it works for you.
It took me a while to figure out, like, I definitely it was pretty hard to live with me when I was figuring all this stuff out. I'm still figuring it out, but I've kind of figured out which direction to go in. But when I first started, I didn't have a spot to do it in.
Mm-hmm.
The garage was just a mess, and the house was a mess, and I still feel bad about that. But I mean, it's a learning experience, and I'm not. If you look at it day to day, it's not, the change isn't that noticeable. But if I look where I was a year or 2 years ago, there's a world of difference in terms of
how you're working, kind of.
I'm working, and I'm just more efficient, and I could be more efficient. I really would. The thing that would help me the most would be to have someone helping me, because I do it all by myself right now, and that I think that kind of hurts me in some ways, because there aren't enough hours in the day for me to deal with emails and DMs and Twitter messages and social media. And then I have to actually design them. I have to build them. I have to order the parts. And then the biggest challenge for me has been scaling it, because going from building one for myself to building many for other people is a challenge, because it's easy to maintain quality if you're making a few of them, because then you can take your time, and it's not a big deal to like spend hours and hours on a helmet. But if I've got to build a dozen helmets, I can't be spending 4 hours. It's just, but I'm also, one thing that I've always prided myself on is I miss timelines. That's my biggest issue, and that's because I haven't been able to build them fast enough, and that's changing. But
sure,
I'm never going to ship something that I'm not happy with. Like, I've told customers, if you want your money back because I haven't gotten it to you, I will give you your money back. I totally understand. But I would rather me be able to do it the right way the first time and have you be happy, rather than feeling like you got ripped off or something like that, because that's just not a good feeling. And the
100%.
fact that people that I've done business with have been happy with me. And of course, there's a few people that you're just not going to make everyone happy. And I've made mistakes, and I own up to that. But I think that I try really hard to make sure that when someone gets their helmet, they're like, this is amazing. And granted, it's been really hard for me to get over being a perfectionist, because when I build one, I see everything that's wrong with it, because I know what it's supposed to look like. I mean, I'll finish it, I'll be like, man, it's just terrible. And my friends are like, what? And I'll be like, look at this part. And like the vinyl graphic will be off by like a 16th of an inch. And they're like, dude, no one is going to notice that.
But I know.
But I do. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm Steve Jobs, but Steve Jobs no one ever sees the inside of an iPhone, but the inside of an iPhone is beautiful, because this is how we're going to do things. It's going to be perfect. And that's why Apple is the biggest company in the world. I don't think that I'm the next Apple or anything like that, but I really do think that kind of stuff shows. And
100%.
And customers, I mean, when they spend money with me, they're trusting me to do a good job, and I take that very seriously.
Your quality control sounds incredible. And I think that at the end of the day, you're going to grow because you are taking so much time and effort into each thing that you do. So I think that shows a lot. And I'm hoping I'm sure we're going to get some messages of people asking to work with you now after this comes out, if you're hiring.
I hope so. I mean, one of the things I feel like I need to do is I need to move. I mean, I love Nashville. Nashville's a cool city, but I've lived here for 26 years, going on 27 years, basically, and exception of when I went to school in Western Kentucky, which is an hour away. And this is not the place to be if you're into EDM. It's not,
definitely not.
And I mean, it has gotten a lot better recently, but I mean, I've got friends in Texas. And of course, see on Twitter and Instagram, people go into shows all the time. Like, should we go to this show tonight or should we go to this one?
Right.
And Nashville is like, we've got a show on Thursday, and then that's it for October.
Got it. Okay.
Like, a lot of times artists will go to places around Nashville, but they won't actually go to Nashville. They go to kind of like the college. I can't really figure it out. I'm assuming they have more data than I do to see where people are buying tickets and stuff. But it is. I realize that EDM is very big in like the Southwest and in Texas. And I think that
Sure.
I'm going to end up moving. I want to move to Phoenix or that
nice.
area.
Okay.
Not a big fan of winter, not a big fan of rain.
Right.
The desert has neither of those. So,
yep.
Granted, planet's getting warmer, so maybe the desert might not be the smartest idea in the world, but
that's all right. And you have access to a lot over there, so you can.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
California, they're lucky they have all those shows and festivals too. So
exactly, and I mean, I think that Phoenix is good for me because it's close to Vegas, it's close to LA, it's driving distance to San Francisco, it's close to all the cool places. It's not that Phoenix isn't cool, but like I can't live in Vegas because if I lived in Vegas, I would be homeless within a month. There's just too much fun stuff to do. I don't trust myself to not go and do all the fun stuff all the time.
Go crazy, yeah.
So I think if I live close enough to where it's a drive, but not like a 36-hour, 40-hour drive like it is now.
Yeah.
I can still get there if I want to go to something, but it requires more thought.
Effort. Yeah.
Than I want to take an Uber. But I think I'll probably do that in the spring. I said I was going to do it this last year, but it just ended up not working out. I wanted to stay in. I like living close to my family and all that kind of stuff, but I'm ready for a change. I'm kind of tired of seeing the same stuff every day, and I work from home, so I basically go to the gym and go back.
Yeah,
back
exactly. And then need to set up shop somewhere.
Exactly. So,
well, that's exciting. I feel like there's a lot of big things coming up for you here, and I mean, before we wrap up, I just have a couple more questions for you. I actually wanted to ask if you have a favorite design or like a few designs that you've done.
It's kind of hard to, it's kind of a cop out. I have, they're all my favorite. Obviously the first one I made, it was a map of Earth. That was the one that I wore to Bonnaroo. That was my first like really, really cool one that I built. And that one has a special place. It's actually, I've got the first 4 displayed in my room basically. And it's just cool seeing how far I've come since that one. And that helmet weighed 10 pounds, and it was held together. The inside was held together basically with duct tape and prayer and zip ties. And cool seeing how far I've come since then. I made a helmet for this little girl named Benny.
I wanted to ask about this. Tom told me to ask you about the Benny story.
Yeah, so this was back in January of 18. I think Marshmello had surprised her in the hospital. She was really sick. She had cancer and a bunch of medical problems, and Marshmello posted a picture with her on Twitter, and I replied to the tweet, and I was like, hey, I'd love to make her a helmet. Like, if anybody knows her family, like, please put me in touch with them. Nothing really came of it. And then about a month later, I got an email from Benny's mom saying, hey, basically here's Benny's story, and I told her, like, I'd love to make her a helmet. It was originally going to be like a pink helmet. I actually built the helmet. Shipping it to Australia was expensive, but I couldn't really do it then. And it basically, I had to push it to the back burner, and then I ended up rebuilding her helmet with a really cool design based on what her mom said she liked, and I built it like free of charge. I was like, I'm not letting you, like, she tried to pay me, and I was like, I'm not, no. I just want to do the nice for Benny, and because she didn't have a helmet at that point, and shipped it to her. She got the video of her opening it, and that was really, really cool. And her mom said that Benny started crying under the helmet because she was so happy. And then Benny's mom started crying. And then right around that time, Marshmello surprised her again in Australia and actually brought her up on stage with her or with him and did all this cool stuff. But he actually filmed this segment on her for his YouTube documentary that came out this summer. And at one point, her mom said that the film crew basically said, go get your favorite Marshmello gear and, we'll talk about it for a minute. And she went and got like this little plushie toy, this little like a t-shirt or something like that. She got the helmet that I built her.
Oh my God.
And it was in the video, like, and they had this 10-minute, like 5 or 10 minute segment on it. And I just remember like when she pulled it into view, see the sticker on the inside that says Festi Ads on it. And like, it was just, I've never cried like that. It was just like literally never been in my entire life. It was just a really cool feeling. And I was actually supposed to meet her at the end of this month, but she had to reschedule. Her family had something come up, so they don't have time to meet with me anymore. But we reschedule it for a couple months later down the road, and I'm really, really excited for that.
That's absolutely incredible. Oh my God, I can't even imagine like what that feeling's like, and I feel like that's such
a rewarding part of what you're doing is like seeing people's reaction to it, and then getting to have moments like that where it's a gift to somebody must be like the most rewarding part of everything.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, that's the thing that I love the most about this is that it put me in contact with people like Benny, and she's not even a teenager, and she's already gone through just the most like literally has stared death in the face like multiple times, and she's still really positive, and she's an inspiration. And I never would have met her if I hadn't started building helmets. And I just really hope that I have the opportunity to continue doing this. And there's a lot of things that I want. I mean, helmets is just kind of step one. I call helmets the main thing, like my Model T or Model 3 or whatever. I've just got those constant, but I've also wanted to branch out into like totems and a bunch of other stuff. There's a lot of stuff a lot of ideas that I have, and I just basically hope that I get the chance to continue doing it, because I legitimately love doing it. There's times when I am just like, I'm so tired of this. I just want to be able to go to the grocery store and buy like ice cream without feeling guilty because I need to spend that money on my business, and staying up super, super late and getting up early. But I know that's what I signed up for. I mean, if it was really, really easy, everyone would be doing it. But usually the things are the most rewarding things. That's something that I've learned. That's definitely this has taught me that.
Oh my God, that's amazing. You gave me so much inspiration just talking to you. And I think definitely like working hard, it's just showing off in everything that you're doing. And I'm really excited to see what's up next for you, and whether that's moving or totems. I'll be following, and I'm really excited for you. And I'm just curious for anybody listening here too, how does it work if they want to place like a custom order with you? Is it just sort of like reaching out via DM or emailing you? How can people get a helmet if they want one?
Right now, I'm basically directing everyone to my email, just because that's easiest for me to kind of manage my demand. But I've got a website that I'm working on. I just need to put a couple finishing touches on it and launch it. Cool. I've been trying to figure out what I want to do when I launch it in terms of like, do I want to do a contest or something like that? I haven't really decided. Cool. Yep. It's kind of like, I feel like my thought process is like, have you ever seen Men in Black? When that little like ball of energy, like they like let it move, like shoots around the lab. Yeah, that's what's going on in my head, like 24/7.
Okay, so I got you.
Like the squirrel, like the dog that says squirrel and up. That's me, like every day.
We need to get you some help.
No, really.
Yep. Then you'll feel a little more relieved. Oh,
yeah, for sure.
All right. So what's the email if people can email you?
It's info@festyheads.com.
Awesome.
That's my email address.
And Instagram is @festyheads.
Yes, ma'am.
And if people, are you doing any festivals or any shows coming up?
I think I'm gonna take it easy for the good of my wallet and body. I think they're pretty upset with me because I did like the festival this year already. But I think I'm gonna do it in Colorado at the end of the year. I've done that a couple times. I'm really looking forward to it this year. And then I'm probably not gonna do anything until EDC next year. I need to chill a little bit. I said I was gonna slow down and stop doing this so much. I said that I think 3 years ago. It hasn't slowed down. I've gotten a little better at managing it, but yeah, I think next year I'll do all the big ones: EDC, Vegas, Bonnaroo, Forest, Lost Lands. I'm so excited for Lost Lands.
That's awesome.
My favorite festival now. I'm looking forward to that one the most for sure.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I think you have your hands full and you're very busy. I'm in the same boat as you. I'm like taking a hiatus, I think. And so I have electric force I haven't done yet. So that's like my big one for next year. And then I'm like, maybe we'll do one beforehand. But right now I just want to like focus on work and everything else. And I think you'll definitely get a lot done. And any way I can help, let me know. It was such a pleasure talking to you, and I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate that. If you ever want to do this again, I would definitely be down.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a great night. And everyone listening, go follow @festyheads and check out his website.
Thank you.
I mean, honestly, how good was that? I was literally speechless. After I got off the phone with Dillon, I literally like sat there for like 2 to 3 minutes and just had to like process that conversation, this is the most rewarding thing. I'm telling you, I am so lucky to talk to these people and meet the most incredible people in this community. I'm like so proud to be a part of the EDM community and to meet all these people. I couldn't support Dillon more, you guys. Go follow his page. Again, check it out, learn a little bit more. If you're interested in purchasing something, please go ahead and do that. I'm sure he's gonna get inundated, but hopefully we can find him some help. If anybody wants to like be Dillon's assistant, definitely reach out to him. But no, that conversation took a turn. His story is really incredible. And again, it just reminds me like why I do this. And you know, at the end of the day, I think it's like about making people happy. And I think that's so cool that he's turned this like passion into a full-time job. It was really inspirational to me, like for sure, talking to him, just because I think it's so cool to see like how you might have like one direction that you want to go in life, but at the end of the day, like sometimes it's just meant to like fall apart, or it's meant for a small amount of time, but maybe not in the long run. And it's kind of like all these pieces to the puzzle were there, and then he was able to just like take the things he's learned and the experience he's had and turn it into something that's like super unique and also very fitting for him. So I'm really proud that he got to where he is. He's so smart, honestly. Just from like talking to him, I feel like he said so many things today that a lot of people will relate to and like take to heart. So I'm super, super excited that he was able to come on here. I'm really grateful. And, you know, I hope that you guys related a lot to this episode and you enjoyed it. We also like didn't get to talk about it too much today because we ran out of time. But one thing I did want to say, I feel like Marshmello has kind of been put through like the ringer in like mainstream kind of media. I saw his first show he ever played in New York. He opened for Skrillex. It was a Halloween show. I've been part of the Mellow gang ever since. It's come in waves. Like I was definitely obsessed, like obsessed. I made my own merch, loved his music. And then he's put out some things that I haven't loved, but at the end of the day, I still like have respected what he's done. And he's totally become this like global phenomenon. He markets to kids now. And for some people, like I feel like it's popular to like shit on him or to like be a hater, but I just think the guy fucking worked the system, found something that worked for him, and he's been nothing but positive and celebrating like, I don't know, just like being unique and being a good person in this community. And I kind of like the idea that like we're all Marshmello. That's his whole thing, right? So I think it's cool. I don't really like knock him for like marketing towards kids or doing whatever he's doing. I think it's a pretty smart business decision. And at the end of the day, like I enjoy his music, most of it. I don't exactly love all the hip hop stuff that he does, but I do really enjoy what he represents and I love his music. So I just wanted to mention that because I feel like Marshmello can be a little polarizing now, and some people like just like to hate it because it's like the trendy thing to do. So I was really excited to have Dillon on here, and it just shows like there's still such a big market for it, and I'm really excited to see like what Marshmello does in the future. And it's just really incredible, guys. Like go look at Dillon's like designs of the helmets he's done, because he has so many different custom ones. Like some of the Excision design ones are really fucking cool. He has a Blunts and Blondes one, I remember, that's good, an Millennium one. He's done some slushy helmets, like all the designs. The one he did for the Lunchbox team was really cool. So go check it out. He's got a really incredible talent. And again, thank you, Dillon, for coming on. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Before I let you all go, I want to get into some I can't talk today. EDM news. All right, let's do it. All right, first up, so Jaws just announced his full, complete Dangerous Waters tour for next year. The support being Abstract and Drezzo, which is really exciting. I fucking stan Jaws. Love him. He's playing in Brooklyn. One of the dates, I believe it's March 14th, so I haven't bought tickets yet, but I'm like definitely planning on going to that. And Drezzo is the opener for Brooklyn, so hell yeah. I've seen Drezzo a couple times. He's really, really great. So I'm super excited for that. Jaws said like he's going all out next year, like bigger and better than ever, so that's really cool. And he announced a bunch of different dates. So if you guys are interested, go check out his tour announcement. Another show announcement, Eric Prydz announced that he is doing a huge show in London, Printworks, Friday, February 28th, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. With special guest Art Bat. So that's freaking huge. I believe tickets or pre-sale is already on sale. I'm sure that's gonna sell out. Oh, and I just read the fine print. This will be his only London show of 2020. That is fucking crazy. Okay, so if those tickets are still on sale, go grab those. That's gonna be nuts. All right, and the last piece of news I have here, it's not funny. I'm already laughing. I know it's not funny, but deadmau5 is back on his antics. You guys, I think he was drunk. He's known to like post on Reddit every now and then. He's been pretty quiet, but deadmau5 has been controversial in the past. He opens his mouth a lot. Not everything he said has been great. I remember like way back he had said some shit about Slushy that like did not go over well and was not cool, and he ended up apologizing to Slushy, but he's been known to run his mouth. He's been known to be controversial. That's kind of like his whole shtick. So I gather he was like drunk last night or something. I don't know, but he posted on Reddit. It's kind of funny. I know it's like not, and I'm a very like plur podcast and I'm all about positivity, but like he kind of has a point. So he basically like lashed out at Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike, and I gather they were like performing at the same event and the stages were very close to each other. And I'll say this on the record, I'm not familiar with Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike's music. I've never been a fan. It's not my cup of tea. I'll leave it there. I was gonna say I don't really get it, but I know they're like some of the biggest DJs in the world, and I think they won. Not that it's relevant at all, but the DJ Mag Top 100, which I don't really know how that voting works. It's also a very controversial list, but I'm pretty sure they are the #1 spot this year. Again, it's not my cup of tea. It's not my favorite music, but to each their own. So deadmau5 came out and said, like, I guess they're on the microphone a lot during their sets. You guys can tell me if that's true or not, but he just went off on them about like how they wouldn't basically like shut the F up, and can you guys just like stop asking how everyone's doing every 3 seconds, how they're feeling, to put their hands up, to count to 3, what they had for room service every goddamn 5 seconds. So yeah, he went on and on. It was liked by like over 1,000 people, and then it just continued on, and all these other people were joining in on the conversation on Reddit. But he ended up writing like, LOL, sorry I was semi-drunk, but I don't really give a shit. Like, my problem is that their stage was 20 feet from ours, and they didn't stop yapping, and that was like the only thing I could hear anyway. So he's not really like backing down. I mean, obviously he stands by everything he says, but I just thought that was kind of funny. I know it's not nice. Like, obviously we shouldn't be shitting on each other, but I don't know. I feel like there's a very big debate about people who either prefer artists to be quiet and not say anything versus some people who like when the DJ or the artist talks to the crowd and interacts with them. That could be a fun episode. Let me know if you guys want, like, that could be another unpopular opinions episode actually, that we're due for a round 2 of that. I'm sort of in between. I mean, my favorite artists, Eric Prydz and Seven Lions, don't say a single word, and I love that. They let their music and their set do the talking and just like bless us with their presence. But at the same time, like, I love Oliver Heldens. Like, he's my favorite artist, and it's so cute when he comes on the microphone and he says things. Dillon Francis is pretty funny. He also does like funny visuals and stuff like that. But every now and then I don't mind, like, if an artist like kind of gets you hyper or says like thank you or whatever. I love Alice in Wonderland. She's really open about mental health issues, and she'll always like talk about the song that she's about to play. Sometimes a lot of people do not like her talking. I kind of do. I think she's really relatable, and I appreciate like how open she can be sometimes. So anyway, that's just my opinion here to end the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed again. I'm super excited about this one. I love doing these interviews. I'm gonna try and line up a couple more here before the end of the year. Again, go support and follow Dillon at FestyHeads on Instagram, and you guys can check out his website as well. And yeah, send in your submissions for Listener of the Week. Email me at raveculturecast@gmail.com. That's raveculturecast@gmail.com. And also follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at raveculturecast and at Emma Kapotes. And lastly, rate and review. Send a link to someone today, screenshot and share your screen, tag us in Instagram stories, spread the freaking word. I appreciate your support so much, you guys. Follow on YouTube, go subscribe over there and check out the video. And I will be back next Wednesday with a new episode. Peace.